This is my new storytelling chair. Isn't it cozy? It's not actually that cold, but it's very, 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 very wet and stormy. So that makes it fire weather, even if it's not cold enough for the fire. So we're continuing on the theme of 5 years in Portugal, because 5 years ago this month, I moved to and got my residency in Portugal. So I just thought I'd share a little bit more about what life here in Portugal is really like. Now, I didn't move here chasing a dream life in the sun. I just wanted a change and something different. I know for some people, they have it mapped out in their mind, the life they want in Portugal, but for me, I was just open to what Portugal had to offer me. I had loose plans, but Portugal had other ideas anyway. I just made the decision very quickly. One of the reasons was I had to because of COVID and Brexit, so I had to just make a decision and come. I just packed a bag, bought a one-way ticket and came. And I'm so glad, because I am a big procrastinator, but I'm going to give myself a pat on the back. I am so proud of myself for just making that decision, getting on and doing it. So even though I did make quite a quick, I wouldn't say rash decision, but I decided and acted, I just thought I can always go back. But I do not think I could ever go back. I'm going to tell you about two of my favourite things, which I feel Portugal has really spoilt me, and I would struggle to leave this place if I had to go anywhere that didn't have this. Now, you might be conjuring up images of sunshine, maybe beautiful beaches, lovely wine, but it's none of those things. What I love, or one of the two things I love, is the availability of untampered with water. There are fonts, fountains, natural water sources all over Portugal, and I love that I don't think I've drunk tap water or bottled water for years. I get all my drinking and cooking water from the local fountain wherever I am. I've definitely got some favourites around Portugal, but I love the taste. I love that it's not got anything in it. That's one of my favourite things. It doesn't even have to be water from the font. A lot of places have their own well, have their own water source. So not only are you drinking non-city water, you are showering in it, washing your clothes in it. I love it. That's one of my favourite things. And I would struggle to go back to buying bottled water. Mainly it's just the taste. It's just the taste. I love drinking water, and I cannot drink it if it doesn't taste nice. So I absolutely love that. It's such a blessing. Every time I fill up from a fountain, I just feel so lucky to be able to do that. Now, the other thing is, again, it is not wine, sunshine, beaches, or I don't know what else you might think of, the beautiful light, the beautiful blue skies. It's the roads. I love, or it's not even just, I say the roads, generally it's the density of the population. I come from the UK. It is a very, very, very crowded island. And I come from London, and it doesn't matter what time it is, day, night, early hours of the morning in London, there are people around and there are cars on the road. You can be driving at 3 a.m. in the morning and think, where are all these people going? Why are all these people out on the road, even though you are out on the road yourself? But just getting from one place to the other in the UK just takes forever. Travelling, driving, going places, going on the days out is no fun at all. And that I really do not miss. And I don't think I could go back to that. Driving here is an absolute joy. I know they've got the toll roads. I really don't mind paying for toll roads. You have got the choice of taking non-toll roads. Sometimes if you choose the non-toll route, it can add quite a bit of time to your journey. Sometimes it doesn't make that much difference, but it's great that the option's there. I don't mind paying for the tolls. I just absolutely love driving in Portugal, and I generally love the lack of people and the lower density of the population. It is an absolute joy, and that is something I didn't even contemplate. I didn't know that that would end up being one of two of my most favourite things, and to be honest, those two things, I would struggle to leave Portugal if I wasn't going somewhere with that. I'd really struggle living without that. If you've watched my channel, you know that I'm always up and down all over the place and I like driving. I will turn up at places at a house sit or visiting someone and people will say, how was your journey? It's the same answer every time. The journey was an absolute joy. And whereas if you turn up somewhere in the UK and someone says, oh, how was the drive? It's never going to be a positive answer, ever. So that is two things, believe it or not, I would struggle living without, or, going back to. Something that has challenged me and bothers me a lot. Now this one is, you could easily guess it. I'm sure you would see it on lists of why people leave a country, what people find difficult about a country, and that is learning the language. I am someone that does not believe in the phrase too old. It really irritates me when people say, oh, I'm too old for this, I'm too old for that. I don't believe it, but I have started to think with learning the language, maybe it is true. Maybe we're just too old, only because I am not alone in this by far. I mean, you might have seen it on other YouTube channels where people have said exactly the same thing, struggling with the language, don't have the opportunity, maybe because they're on farms and homesteads and in remote rural places. So there's the opportunity to mix. When they do mix, their friends tend to be other immigrants. But anyway, I never put myself down as someone that finds languages different. Some people have that story. They just say, oh, I'm no good with languages. I'm no good with learning languages. I have never had that thought. But it is, and it's my own fault. It's the, I don't know why it's so difficult to just sit my arse on a chair and do, 10, 15, 20 minutes Portuguese every day. I just lose the will to live sitting down, learning a language. And I know you might think, well, you're in Portugal, go out and mix, talk to the locals. But if you're with, I've got Portuguese friends that never, ever, ever, ever speak to me in Portuguese. They speak perfect English, and I keep saying to them, speak to me in Portuguese. Just say some odd words and, teach me a phrase. Or don't teach me a phrase. It's not your job to teach me, but just say a phrase to me. Every day, let's have a phrase, or every week, But yeah, we're all just late. I don't know, but I don't know. Perhaps I don't know the answer. Well, I do know the answer. The answer is to probably just to be disciplined, but I don't know why I haven't got that discipline. And as I say, I know so many people in the same boat. I have gone through phrases where me and a friend have done accountability, where we set ourselves tasks every day, and then we've got a little money jar where if we don't do the task, we have to put money in the jar and then give, whoever hasn't done their task gets the money. And then just to go through the things I've done, I've bought several courses, I've bought books, I've done online classes. Right, so there's Pimsleur. You've probably heard of Pimsleur. I tried their little free lesson. They've got an app and they give you the first lesson for free if you go on their website or download the app. I'll put the link below if you're interested in. And I really liked it, and I thought, well, there you go, maybe I should buy the Pimsleur course. That will probably be better. But then the other part of me is saying, no, Louise, don't buy yet another course. Just sit your ass down and finish the other ones you've already purchased. But then the other half of me saying, yeah, but I really like that one. I think that one I won't find boring and I'll be motivated to do, because it's really interesting. They've sort of got games, they've got conversation practice. You can speak in the app and get feedback for your accent. I don't know. If anyone, have a look at the free lesson and tell me what you think. So obviously Black Friday is coming up and they've got a deal. And I'm thinking, should I buy it? Anyway, what do you think? Do you think if I find the right learning method, whether that be a course or some kind of method that suits me, it would help and I might be motivated to carry on and not give up? Or am I just making excuses and no matter what course I buy or what method I try, nothing's going to change? What do you think? But anyway, that is just another reality of living here, is struggling with the language. Another thing that makes living here very interesting is animals. And whether it's city, country, town, wild animals, pets, animals that are kept as pets but aren't really treated as pets. Last video, I was going through some of my old footage to try and find some images to talk about the last 5 years in Portugal. And I was reminded when I came across a video of the first kitten that tried to adopt me here in Portugal. Now, this kitten lived next door. It was left outside without water on a very hot day. So I gave it some water. It was really thirsty. Gave it some food outside. I didn't bring it into my home or anything like that. And after that, this kitten would not leave me alone. She was constantly trying to come up my stairs, trying to get in my house. Sometimes I just gave up at one point. I am lying on my floor in my flat working. I do not own a kitten. I'm not looking after a kitten. So why is there a kitten asleep on my back? She keeps coming in. I keep kicking her out. And she keeps coming back in. It's obvious who's winning. What do you want? What? What? What do you want? You don't live here. No. No. No, you're not my kitten. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. 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 No, I'm not your demon. You're not coming in. Animals will find you here. I am telling you, they will find you and they will weed their way into your life, whether you like it or not. And whether that's an animal that just turns up on your doorstep and you end up taking in, whether that's an animal that you just feed. The amount of people that kind of like have stray cats in their lives that they feed regularly, yeah, they will find you. There's that. There's also animals that just, you know, if you leave your front door open, they come wandering in. The gate, your garden open, they come wandering in. Here, I've got the dog, which I call the mayor. I live on a little square, and this little dog thinks he is in charge of the square. He watches all your comings and goings. I kid you not. I have to put up with him trying to come into the front door when you leave the door open, coming into the garden and trying to get in the back door. Then there's, if you live in a rurally, I've got friends that have got homesteads, that have got animals. You know, there's unruly dogs that live in the area that have come in, killed their chickens, killed their rabbits, attacked their goats. You know, you need fencing more to keep other animals out than you do to keep yours in. And that's not even without the wild animals. You expect that and you can cope with them, but it's domestic animals. They just, you know, wander about the streets, causing havoc. I mean, the amount of times my dogs have been attacked, I've had so many bite injuries. And whether it's like, you know, even down to insects, battling against flies, trying to keep mosquitoes out of your home so you can get a decent night's sleep. Yeah, that is an interesting way to live. Now, Portugal is no different from many other European countries in the way they treat their animals, but I really did not think it would affect me as much as it does. It really can get you down sometimes and put a dampener on your day just to see mainly dogs. I mean, there's a lot of street cats, and even horses aren't treated very nicely. Round here is lovely. There's horses in fields, living naturally, living as a nice herd. There's a big herd with foals that I've seen grown up since I live here. But most of the time, horses are just left tethered on their own. Horses are herd animals. They are stressed and constantly on alert when they live on their own because they're not supposed to. They're prey animals and they need to live in herds to not feel like they need to constantly be on tenterhooks. So yeah, horses are just left tethered on their own, living on their own. But the dogs, some of them, if you don't know, I have 2 dogs which I had no intention of getting any animals. I was not in a position to have animals. I do not want animals, but I only have one of the dogs now. One of them's got a lovely home with a lovely family. But anyway, that's in past videos. You can look back on my videos if you want to know about their story. But I took them out of a hellhole of a situation. But there are just dogs everywhere in the same situation. The only difference between them 2 is I got to know them and they just, I don't know, some kind of voodoo witchcraftery went on because their plight took over my heart, body, soul. I had no choice. I just had this unwavering, strong desire to get them out of their hellhole. I had no choice in the matter. As I say, I don't know what witchcraftery voodoo was put on me, but I had to get them out and I did, and I still have one of them now. But, you know, I take him for a walk every day, twice a day, and on our route, there's one particular dog living in just as much, even a worse situation than they did actually, because at least they could see. They lived in a cage and they could see what was going on and just, you know, at least had something to look at. This dog has no visual stimulation. It is in this tiny little yard with high fences tied up. It can't see anything. Obviously it can hear you going by, but it is absolutely horrendously miserable. And sometimes it just really puts a downer on my day seeing this dog, because occasionally the gate is open if the people that live there are just outside. And so sometimes when the gate's open and I see this dog, it's obviously I hear it every day when I walk by, but when I see it, it just destroys a little bit of your soul. Anyway, so that's animals. The good, the bad and the ugly. And whereas I said there are things which would make it hard for me to leave Portugal, that is one of the things which would make it very easy for me to leave. Next, living in Portugal can be exhausting, but To be fair, that's not about living in Portugal. That is about living abroad in a new country. Like, everything is new. You've got to learn so many things, and just basic things. Like my friend says, she feels like she's 60 going on 6. Sometimes you feel like a child out in the world on your own. So, for example, I remember a friend once just saying she just had a meltdown in the supermarket, because now this might sound like, don't be ridiculous, what a thing to like have a meltdown over. But it's just the build-up of all the little things that you just are constantly new. You constantly don't know how to do things, or how things work. You just want to go to the laundry. You just want to, in this case, buy some vegetables. So, I mean, this was when my friend hadn't been here very long, but she in the supermarket, some of the supermarkets, you have to weigh your own vegetables, but you need to get the code from the, the price tag, put that into the weighing machine to get the right item to get the price for. And she just, now she says, I don't know why, I just couldn't work it out. But again, it's the overwhelm of everything. She was just very overwhelmed. So she'd gone to this supermarket several times and couldn't work out how to weigh and how to get your fruit and veg. So she didn't bother. And then she got to the stage about the third time where she thought, no, I need some vegetables. I need to work this out. And she says, I just want some vegetables, but I don't understand how you do it. I can see people at the scales, but I don't know how you weigh and price up your fruit and vegetables. And after now she says, I don't know, it's just so obvious. How did I not miss it? But it is, I think she was just in the stage of overwhelm. Another thing I describe about how it is living here is, I would just use one word, cold. It can be very cold. But when I say that, I'm talking about the cold indoors. I know here I'm very cosy by the fire, but there you may have heard and seen people, and you thought this was a joke, talking about Portuguese people wearing their coat inside rather than outside. It is absolutely true. I, after 5 years, just cannot get used to it being colder inside than it is out. So once I was in an Airbnb, so I was staying in an Airbnb where you stay with the host, just renting a room in the house. And I was in the kitchen making my dinner, and it had sort of like doors to the living room, and he was sitting in the living room watching telly. And I kid you not, he gets up and he says, oh, it's got really chilly. He went upstairs, and I kid you not, he came back downstairs with his coat and his shoes on and sat right back down and carried on watching TV. So yeah, it really is true. People put their coats on indoors. But as I say, I don't think I'll ever get used to it being colder inside than what it is out, or stepping outside and it's really warm. I'm talking about in the winter. I'm not talking about in the summer. But anyway, so yeah, those are some of my thoughts and experiences of living in Portugal. And, many of them just are not necessarily unique to Portugal. It's just about living abroad in somewhere that's completely different from the country that you came from. It's been 5 years, and as you can imagine, a lot of ups and downs, but a lot of fun too. And this is life in Portugal.